an absolutely wild day in the world of Magic the Gathering. Magic players are raging, and they have a right to, over the current state of Standard. Spoilers, it's become unplayable, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. On top of that, there's this crazy panic surrounding the upcoming Spider-Man set, and that's not even all the news we're going to talk about today.
Magic.
I am a wizard!
History.
I'm an old wizard!
The Magic Historian.
My bones hurt. Greetings, owners of fine luxury cardboard rectangles, my friends. I hope the day finds you well because we have gathered for an ultra thick and juicy installment of Mega Magic News. I have an entire page of news items to discuss. A lot to cover today, so let's start out with a smaller news item, which is adjacent to the whole thing that's going on with Standard, and that is the Final Fantasy Starter Kit. Wizards of the Coast is in such a rush now creating products that they can't keep up. So what if I told you that the starter booklet that comes with the Final Fantasy Starter Kit tells you how to play Magic the wrong way? And not just in some minor way, but on a huge level where creatures only go to the graveyard if they take more damage than their toughness. So for example, if two 2/2 creatures got blocked by each other, boom, what's gonna happen? They're each gonna take 2 damage, normally go to the graveyard. But according to the rules in the Final Fantasy booklet, no, those 2/2s still survive. This is the kind of oversight that seems almost impossible. Wouldn't you just be cutting and pasting the information from previous learn to play guides? At this point, it's absolutely mind-blowing and can only be attributed to the fact that Wizards of the Coast is running at full speed, right, in terms of making products, and they can't keep up. They also can't keep up with the arena feedback page, which is amazing. If you actually go and read this for Magic Arena, if you go and read people talking about the different issues they have, there'll be a bunch of things. Hey, midweek Magic wasn't working for me. I have this issue. And then there's tons and tons of the most deranged bot posts that I've ever seen, basically claiming to be magicians and warlocks who can fix your problems. Most of them are like, I gave Francis McGimmigoo $100 and 2 days later he gave me the winning lottery numbers. And it's like there's so many different variations. I even found one specifically targeting my part of the world where it mentioned a location close to me. So there's tons of this. There's ones that are even offering to use magic to cure your diabetes. And there's so much of it in there that the actual things that need to, it's just like, okay, actual problem with Arena, spam. It is crazy. It makes you wonder if they're actually even reading this. Do you know what I mean? Like, are they so undermanned over on Arena that they just can't even look at this stuff anymore? Because remember, Final Fantasy has basically started this whole universe beyond Cavalcade, but we've got Spider-Man, we've got Avatar. Those were never meant to be on Arena. Those were just going to be physical products, and now they've got to go on Arena. So the Arena team is running super quick. Everything is complete pandemonium. So the next item that I want to talk about on the list is, let's talk about the big one. Let's talk about what's going on with the whole Final Fantasy basically destroying Standard. Standard becoming an unplayable mess to the level of Oko. If you didn't live through Fire Design, where Wizards of the Coast went, instead of balancing formats and playtesting cards, what if we did none of that and just made crazy unbalanced insanity and dumped it on the world? Like, Oko took over everything. And the reason he did was because they made a last minute change to him, didn't consider the change, and didn't play test it. And you can actually find Rosewater defending the fact that Wizards of the Coast does not play test their stuff the way they used to. He's like, you can't expect us to play test the cards. Yes, we can. That's what you did all along. And if you don't, it leads to this situation where now Vivi from Final Fantasy is taking over. We're talking 75, 80% of the field, insane win rates on MTGO, we're talking about on Arena, Paper Magic, wherever you go, Vivi is there to just lay the boots to you because Wizards made this ultra pushed insanity. Let's put up the cards that are causing the problems together on the screen. So you got Vivi and you've got Agatha's Soul Cauldron. So Vivi, first of all, let's address how broken this card is, right? Look at its abilities. Okay, it generates mana. Why does it not tap to generate mana? This 0, oh, I can just make mana ability would be far less powerful if you couldn't use it the turn the creature came out and it tapped the creature down so it also couldn't attack and do other things. So you've got an insanely juiced mana ability. Then you have the insanely juiced beef up ability where every time you cast a non-creature spell, oh, look at this, he does 1 damage to anybody, and instead of having prowess, he gets a +1/+1 counter, which is absolutely deranged and pushed to an insane degree. Now, Agatha's Soul Cauldron is what makes this deck unstoppable, because you look at Vivi and you go, he's not a big creature, he's easy to destroy. Well, what if I told you that destroy him actually makes your problems 1,000,000 times worse? Because he goes to the graveyard, and then you use Agatha's Soul Cauldron to remove him from the graveyard and put a +1/+1 on a dude, and then that dude gains all of Vivi's abilities. So you can go, oh look, I'll put a counter on my 4/4, it's a 5/5, that also has the ability to generate mana, that also pings you every time I cast a spell, that also gets a +1/+1 counter every time I cast a spell. This is complete madness. And Wizards of the Coast knows this card is super powerful, right? They knew it when they made it. This is intentional. This is the same sort of scenario we saw with the One Ring, where they pick a card and they go, we really, really want this to hit hard. Vivi is a fan favorite. So Wizards pushed it hardcore in development with literal no consideration for the fact that there would be a 3-year standard. Because remember, changing standard into 3 years was a knee-jerk reaction from Wizards of the Coast where they realized they had a bunch of product that wasn't selling and they said, okay, how do we sell this product? Make standard 3 years. And we're still paying for it now. And guess what, friends? There will be no reprieve for this until the end of the year, pretty much. And that's at the earliest, because how Wizards is doing bannings now, they refuse to do standard bans outside the ban window because they say, oh, you know what? That's the worst thing for the game. No one will want to play if they can't use their cards. No one will want to play if it's the same deck that's winning and it's the only option you have. Nothing ruins an environment more than it becoming a one-deck format. And that was actually fairly rare in Magic before this newest era. But now, nope, they have to push the cards hardcore because it's in the Final Fantasy set. You will not see a ban on Vivi for years. Think about how bad it would feel as a new player if you bought Final Fantasy, you just got into it, you got Vivi, especially if you bought the actual card with its $50 plus price tag. So you own this Vivi. I'm hyped to play this new game. I'm hyped to use my guy. You go down to the tournament. Sorry, Vivi's banned. But what? This is a new card and I built my deck around it. Yeah, sorry, he's too broken. Well, you know what? I'm not even playing this stupid game, right? Like, ultimately, that is what Wizards is trying to avoid at all costs. And as a result, they don't care about how many entrenched players this ruins the experience for, because it's all about selling that product. And Final Fantasy is going to be available for like the next 3 years, and they've done 4 extra print waves of it. It's the most printed set in Magic's history, as far as I understand, eclipsing even things like the Modern Horizon set. So honestly, stop and ask yourself, what is the percentage chance that Wizards of the Coast is going to ban the biggest card from a set they're printing for the next 4 years? I'll give you a second. Oh yeah, the answer is 0%. So what they're going to do is they're going to ban around the problem. They're going to ban the Soul Cauldron, which will be a temporary fix because the Soul Cauldron will be gone, right? But Vivi will still be a powerhouse and other things will be coming down the pipe. So this basically has to do with the fact that Wizards of the Coast is not balancing, is not testing things. They're making way too many products and they have obliterated the standard format. The amount of rage over this is floating around, is reaching Oko levels, and just give it a few more months. Leave the pot boiling for a few more months. Magic players are more distracted by all the different products that are being made now, but ultimately, once you catch up and realize, wait a minute, the standard is completely unplayable, that is a nightmare situation. Wizards has been trying to rebuild standard. They're trying to bring back the judge program, so this is not the direction that they want things to be going in. But ultimately, there's not much they can do about it at this point because their design changes take a couple years to come into effect. So the next few years are going to be a very bumpy ride, right? Next item on the list that I would like to talk about is, let's see here. Oh yes, the Spider-Man panic. This ties into Wizards of the Coast making a million product, not being able to keep up. If you want to get a particular set, you can go into the store and it's just sold out. Tarkir, gone like that. Final Fantasy, even with all these extra printings, can be sketchy to find here or there. So there is information floating around where it is being claimed that Spider-Man is going to have one print run. Now this is specifically in regards to play booster boxes. Collector booster boxes always just have one print run. What? They're saying that play booster boxes will only have one print run, to the point where Wizards has actually publicly addressed that rumor already, saying, no, there's more Spider-Man coming. We definitely aren't just doing one wave, but the question becomes, how long will that second wave take to show up, right? Because Wizards of the Coast is like so behind that we might not get any more Final Fantasy until the end of the year, right? When they realized they needed to put up more Tarkir, they were like, okay, we're going to put more Tarkir, but it's going to be 4 months. So by the time you get more Tarkir, it should be like about a month from now. And it's crazy to think that Edge of Eternity's Final Fantasy are both out before any more of that stuff comes, and we've got a Spider-Man set coming. It's just they can't keep up with this. So people ultimately believe rumors of, hey, they're not going to make any more of this. They are, but it might feel like they're not because it's going to take forever for it to show up in the stores. We don't know how much it's going to be. The Spider-Man set isn't one that they have a lot of faith in because it's a reskinned Assassin's Creed style set, right? So ultimately, it is a bizarre product. So the way that they've done it, right? You've got the physical cards that will be Spider-Man cards. You've got the digital version, which wasn't originally going to be on Arena, but now is, but they will not have the actual cards. Spider-Man is one of the messiest sets in recent history. Everything's kind of messy, right? We're not really going to cover it in this video, but I've been finding a bunch of posts where Mark Rosewater is getting upset about being called a liar, and he's just giving disingenuous answers like, I know we're making a lot of cards right now, but listen, the reason we're doing it is because when Richard Garfield originally made the game, he was like, when people play, they won't know all the cards. Yeah, because Garfield thought they'd each pick up like a starter deck and a couple of booster packs. Turning around and going, we're being true to his vision because we've barfed out so many cards that nobody on earth can keep up with them, is not being true to Richard Garfield's vision. But either way, he's been putting out a bunch of posts like that. People have been calling him like a liar. They called him a liar when he tried to pretend the Spider-Man set. Listen, the Spider-Man set is designed the way it is because like it's for 2-player draft, or like a pick 2 4-player draft, man. That's what it's all about. And like there was just a bunch of Spider-Man cards that we didn't get to put in there, so we wanted to put him in there. And then people were like, bro, you're lying. And he's like, I'm not a liar. Yeah, it was supposed to be an Assassin's Creed set, but I'm not a liar. Don't call me a liar. He got like so tweaked about it, and he genuinely deserves to be called out for it, right? He straight up told us, oh yeah, guess what? Don't worry. We're going to give you universe within versions of all the Universe Beyond stuff. Don't worry, Universe Beyond won't be taking over all of Magic. It'll just be a side thing. It won't be a main thing you're forced to engage with, right? So ultimately, the lies of Rosewater just pile up, and it made me smile to watch him throw his little fit going, I'm not a liar, I'm not a liar. But anyways, I said that, I said that I wouldn't go on about that in this video. And I will if I don't stop myself for a second, so hold on. Okay, let's move on to the next subject, which is actually a success for Wizards of the Coast, and that is the newest festival in a box. So up on the screen, you're going to see it. Basically, it is a handful of promo cards. It is an individual special secret layer, and it is the mystery boosters too. Mystery boosters, if you don't know, are absolutely a genuinely fun product. It has like about 1,500 or more different Magic cards. It's meant to give you an insane Chaos Draft experience. So as far as I'm concerned, it's actually a real winner of a product. So what you get with this particular festival in a box is you get 4 random promos, but there's also a secret layer included that has Pack Rat, Shared Summons, Sliver Legion, and Sylvan Offering. So you get those. The other promos, which some of them they've used before, but the biggest one to note is Dragon, because that's a big deal as well. So you've got Sliver Legion, Dragon, and the mystery box. They put this all together for $200. It actually went on sale yesterday and sold out pretty much instantly, as instantly as something like this can. So unlike the more recent festival and the boxes that we've seen that kind of languished on the website for a while, Wizards of the Coast found the sweet spot for this one. It might be that they reduced the greed meter as well, because the last festival in a box, you might recall, the prices were about 250 US. But with this one, it's down to 200 US, and it just flew off of the shelves. 8 cards plus the booster box was enough to move the needle. At the end of the day, when the secret layer is only really available alongside of them, like the box there, it almost doesn't feel like a secret layer. It just feels like 4 more random promos, right? They separate them down at the bottom to make it feel a bit different, but it doesn't internally feel like different at all. But they definitely did make a product that people are happy with. And actually, speaking of products, there has been a crazy restock going on in random locations like Targets and Walmarts, where older products are showing up on the shelves. So Doctor Who decks are apparently resurfacing. We have things like Bloomborough bundles making their way out into the wild. So that actually is a good tie into the whole what I just said about print runs and how long it takes Wizards to get more product out there. If we're finally just seeing Bloomborough bundles like hitting the shelves now, although I guess there is another theory. It might not be that Wizards actually made more product, because specifically when it comes to bundles, they don't always do more runs. But Bloomborough was a banger. So it could be that Wizards produced more, or it could be that there was a bunch of stuff kind of sitting in different distribution locations. And once the Final Fantasy frenzy went bam from the top ropes, then all of a sudden they were just like, all this other product's moving. Like stores want to buy it, individuals, whatever it is. It could just be that Final Fantasy's created such a frenzy that it's had a knock-on effect where people see all the money in Magic and go, yo, I want to get in on this. It's not 100% clear exactly what's going on that way, but there is a resurgence of random older product. And because Wizards is so muddy right now in terms of like constant production, it's really difficult to see what's going on and go, well, actually that's a restock that Wizards said they were going to do X number of months ago, because they tell us that we're going to get more of things. But like when they say they're going to do another Spider-Man run, remember that could mean like this print run will show up a year from now, 2 years from now. They already like upped the Final Fantasy won 4 times, which means they had to kick other things down the line. We saw Lorwyn get completely removed from this year's schedule and pushed to next year. So there's a lot of chaos in the Magic world right now. It's genuinely a fascinating time to be somebody who covers the history of the game. Now, fascinating, not necessarily from a positive perspective. I can't say that I've enjoyed what Universe Beyond has done to the overall nature and flavor of the game. And as we go further through this year and we see Spider-Man and Avatar come out, we're really going to see a big change in the, like, just the landscape of what Magic looks like. Because up until now, Universe Beyond had kind of been off at the side. Yeah, the Lord of the Rings was a big deal, but it was a modern thing, and it had a big furor where people wanted to get the One Ring, but it didn't kind of work its way out big time into the Magic ecosystem, with the exception of the One Ring and Orcish Bowmasters, which stayed around forever. So have fun hating Vivi for the next 4 years or whatever it's going to be. They'll reprint them into standard. 4 more years. It's like, why are you saying 4 years? That's because guess what? Wizards is going to come out 6 months from now and go, standard is 4 years long. I called it here. I called it now. I pray I'm wrong. It's just a joke. So thanks for coming by and hearing what I have to say. Big shout out to my patrons. You guys are awesome. Big shout out to my channel members. You guys are awesome too. Thanks for coming by, and I will catch you all in the next video.